Good morning. I want to talk about some things that I know men are not talking about. Just hearing conversations and just throughout the years of being in group settings with men and we just talk and things like that. I just feel like there are some things that need to be said. And when I put it in perspective, I look at it like this. As men, we are so quick to either try to help someone get a job. We are so quick to try to, hook someone up and introduce them to a friend so they can start dating this person. Or if somebody's like in need of some money, we are quick to maybe help somebody out by giving them something like that. But what I don't see enough of is I don't see enough men trying to help save another man's life. And when I say that, I meant this by myself personally. I was just recently diagnosed with prostate cancer. Um, I, at first, actually it was like 2 weeks ago when I got the news. Um, I felt like I went through three different stages because the first stage was like, wait a minute, you got to be kidding me. I feel like I eat fairly healthy. I mean, I'm always working out. I just felt like I was always doing everything I can do to, um, you know, take care of my body. But as you get at a certain age, it doesn't matter how healthy you eat or how much you work out. There are certain things that we must do when we get a certain age. And I also felt like when I said that I knew the doctor was lying, I couldn't believe it. That was the first stage. Then the second stage was like, okay, dang, what I'm going to do? How much time do I have? All these things started going through my mind. And then I went through this third stage where I'm like, you know what? I ain't worrying about this. I'm good. I know I'm in God's hand. He brought me this far, and I'm going to do everything that I needed to do to get rid of it. But at first, I didn't know about getting rid of anything. When I heard about it, like I said, I went through the first stage where this can't be true. Then I went through that down stage where, okay, um, how's this going to get fixed and what's my options and all these different things. Um, it's so crazy because when I was at work, I took a week off and one of the guys saw me. He was like, hey, man, I haven't seen you in a while. Where are you? And I just said, hey, man, I was on vacation. I was lying. Something told me to tell him the truth. And I went back to him and I said, hey, I wasn't on vacation. I had a biopsy. And the guy said, are you serious? He said, hey, I had one too. And when he said that, I was like, you did? I was like, well, let me ask you about it. I, I'm so glad I said something because he explained to me exactly how the whole process worked. And one of the things that he said to me that gave me, I would say, give me like a boost of energy when he was like, oh man, me and my wife, we sit down, we talked about it, and I called my uncle. And the crazy part about this is he said he called his uncle and he wasn't sure, how they wanted to handle this after they got the information, from the doctor I was diagnosed. He said his uncle told him, he said, oh, uncle, he said, oh, nephew, don't worry about it, man. I had something like that 30 years ago and had surgery and just got it taken care of. And he said, as a matter of fact, my brother went through the same thing. So he said, uncle, how come you didn't tell me this? He said, we play dominoes every week. We eat crawfish every week. You never told me this. He said, nephew, we don't talk about that. So right there, it shows that no, we don't talk about stuff like this. But I can tell you this much, man. When I talk to him, it just gives me so much confidence that I'm gonna be all right. I know I'm gonna be all right. But the reason I'm making this video is because since this news that I got, I kind of say it's a blessing. And the reason I say it's a blessing is because whenever I speak or whenever I pray at night, the things that I always pray is for God to use me as an outlet to give my testimony by uplifting others. I wasn't expecting to be lifting up others with this news, but it's okay because I know God got me. Um, I asked for God to use me so I can help others. And this is something that I'm doing now, trying to help others. Several of the men that I have spoken with, I'm going to be honest with you, because if someone had asked me this 3 weeks ago about a PSA, I don't know what a PSA is. Um, Several men that I asked, they said, I don't know what that is. Um, there was one guy, he said, when I asked about his PSA, as God is my witness, he said, I don't PlayStation. He said, I don't play with PlayStations. It's real talk. We as men don't know. So you can't knock somebody for not knowing something. But several of the guys that I talked to after I told them that I was diagnosed, several of them said, man, if I was diagnosed with prostate, I wouldn't tell nobody. See, that's what I'm talking about. But a few other men that I did talk to, they said, wow, I didn't know that. Thank you. And now I'm about to go and get checked. See, I always say, if I share the word to help someone and I change one person, I did my job. But of course, I want to share um, my experience and some of the things that I found out because I want to try to help another brother out. A lot of times and for instance, and I remember this specifically when I spoke at the Houston Juvenile Detention Center. I spoke to a lot of these inmates. And let me tell you something. There were some of them that looked like they were really in tune to what I was telling them. And then there were um, one in particular that he looked like he was being distracted. He was doing certain things like with a little pencil and pad. And either he was taking notes or he just really wasn't paying me any attention. But I just can tell by his body language that he wasn't really listening to me. But at that point, it didn't matter. I felt like if I can continue talking, maybe I can help change somebody's mindset. But I can tell you this, after I spoke, that same young gentleman that I didn't think was paying me any attention, he raised his hand. And I said, yes, sir. He said, can you do me a favor? And can you pray for us? I'm gonna be honest with you. See that moment when you think that no one is listening to you? Trust me, someone is. And the man that I thought wasn't paying attention was actually paying attention. So this is, again, why I want to do this video, because I know that God chose me. He chose me to share my testimony. He chose me to share this word to help other men. And after doing my research, of course, now I know what the PSA stands for. It's prostate-specific antigen. I also thought it was just more black men. No, it's men, Caucasian and black, Hispanic, you name it. It's men. So I started doing some research. Started looking into how it developed, what can be done, my options, surgery versus chemo. Just trying to figure out what's going to be best for me. Because the few people that I have talked to, someone said, oh, well, I know someone who did this. Someone said they knew who did that. But again, my thing is I have to see what's going to be best for me. But I'm going to be all right. That's what I know. Because one of the things that I can say is that your mindset control everything else. So when I feel like my mind is good, my body is good. If you sit there and you mope and you be down about, things that you're going through and things like that, your body starts to feel beat up. You got to be uplifted, man. I'm good. I'm going to continue working out. I'm going to continue hooping. I'm going to do the things to extend my life because I'm good. I'm not worried about that. I just want to make sure that the next person is good. And anybody that's going through certain things, because I know of some people who had cancer. A lot of them are down. They're sad. Why? Well, one of the things that I can say also while I'm doing this video, because a lot of these things can be prevented. So yes, I may felt like I have waited to the last minute, but guess what? I caught it early. And when you catch things early, you have the opportunity to get them resolved, get it taken care of. A lot of folks that I've seen that have or no longer with us is because they found out too late. So with this video, either if you are a man and you hear this video get your PSA check. Go and check. And I'm be honest with you, man, as a man, we laugh and we joked about how we are not going to be letting nobody go back. Man, most of them tough dudes, they dead. We don't have time for that, man. Just do whatever it takes for you to live a long life. If you got grandkids, you want to be around for your grandkids, man. Do whatever it is that you need to do to get it taken care of. Because I'm telling you now, I was one of them cats that was like, man, I ain't hearing that. Man, we ain't got time for that no more, man. You got to do whatever it's going to take for you to have longevity and enjoy your life, man, because I just recently turned 50, and I'm going to be honest with you. I want to be here for another 50 years. Because I'm trying to think of all the stuff that I'm trying to say in this video, because I know I can continue talking and talking, and especially when I get up there on the podium. Oh, it's hard for me to stop. But what I want to do, I want to try to make it short and sweet and to the point so I can make sure I help brothers out. And like I said before, it's not only black men. I did a little research, and some of these names that I'm going to mention, you're going to be like, oh, why? I didn't know, because honestly, I didn't know. Some of them I did and some of them I didn't. Brian Custer, he's a sports commentator. You see him on ESPN. These are men that have been diagnosed with cancer. We have Harry Belafonte, he's an actor. We have Sidney Poitier, is an actor. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, basketball player. Rudy Giuliani, a politician. Arnold Palmer, a pro golf player. Joe Torre, baseball player. John Kerry, a politician. Roger Moore, 007. Colin Powell, former Secretary of State. Robert De Niro, an actor. Warren Buffett, a billionaire. Ken Griffey Sr., baseball player, and Ben Stiller, an actor. So right there it tells you it doesn't care about race. It doesn't care about money. Everyone, if you're not doing the proper steps to what it is that you need to do to take care of yourself, you're not immune to it. Anyone can get it. And even when, like I said, even if when you think you're eating healthy, even when you think that because you don't do drugs and you don't drink or anything like that, that you're going to be fine. Nah, there's some things that we need to still do when you get a certain age. And, some people were asking me, well, how did you know to go to the doctor? As most men, we don't go. I was getting up more often in the middle of the night using the restroom. And my girl was like, you've been going to the restroom a lot lately. So, as a man, we always in denial of things. I said to myself, well, I kind of said it to her as well. I was like, well, I'm getting older. Maybe my bladder is weak, and just paying no attention. And she said, no, you need to go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor, and thank God, well, at first my PSA was high. So they gave me some medicine to get my PSA down. And then they got to the point where they said, well, hey, we need to do a biopsy. And of course, I didn't know what that was. Of course, I went home, I did my research, and I did that. So my next step now is to, after hearing the news that, hey, you are diagnosed with it. The good thing is that it's very moderate and it's small, something that we could get taken care of. But however, you don't want to wait the next 2 to 5 years. And I said, well, doctor, trust and believe. You don't have to worry about that. I'm going to be trying to get this thing taken care of within the next couple of weeks. So now that I know, I'm going to do all the steps that I need to do to get it taken care of. Like I said, I feel confident knowing that, oh, this is something that I can be taken care of. I did find out there are some older men who did recently was diagnosed. I hear their stories about what they did with the chemo and radiation. I heard some others' story about how they did the surgery. Again, just trying to figure out all the pros and cons, hearing their side, but I'm also going to have to do what's best for me. Again, I'm going to be all right. Like I said, this video, just like my girl told me about it, hopefully whoever this female is, she can tell her man, or she can tell her dad, or she can tell her brother, her uncle. We all need to be around. Something else I saw. Oh, well, of course, black men are more likely to be diagnosed with prostate for the simple fact that fewer black men goes to the doctor. On my podcast that I did not too long ago, I actually had a doctor that I knew from back in Florida, and it was an honor to have him on my podcast. And we talked about men going to the doctor. And at that time, I was telling him that I was going to go to the doctor, so which I did. And I hope other men saw that video about going to the doctor because we need to. There were a celebrity that recently died. I believe he died of colon cancer, but after doing some research, he actually was diagnosed in February about his colon cancer, but he died in December. But the reason he died is because it was too late. Someone else I knew, she said her best friend died of colon cancer. And because of that, now she does her physical, I believe she said either every 6 months or every year. But she said the part that hurt her the most was because this could have been prevented. Her best friend, if she had went earlier, she would have been able to find out earlier and do whatever it is that she needed to do to take care of herself. I was advised that cancer, it can be preventable if you take the proper steps to find out early. Most people, I feel like, passed away is because they find out too late and they're doing all of the things that they can to do when there's really nothing much you can do. You can maybe try to prolong it as long as you can. But, some of the things that I just thought about, I have a homeboy, never smoked in his life. And I heard he died of lung cancer. Um, you know, I things like that, it puzzles me. I never really looked deep into the causes or something like that because that's not the cancer that I'm dealing with. I also found out that there's certain stages of cancer as well. Again, I'm dealing with the prostate, but rest assured that once I get this taken care of, my next step is to look into colon cancer, colonoscopy. I actually talked to some brothers yesterday. Two of them said, "Oh man, yeah, I went and got mine taken care of, and I'm going to be getting mine checked out on a regular." So it was good to hear that there were two other brothers that was already 2 steps ahead of me because they did what I'm going to be doing. And in that conversation, there was another gentleman who said he's going to get his checked out. So I felt like he was 1 step behind me, but he was still ahead of the game because now he's going to get checked just from our conversation. So again, I hope that this video gets to the right person. I hope it opens up more of our brothers' eyes and say, man, I appreciate what you said because from your video, I went and got checked. Man, we say these words all the time. Life is short, but it can even be shorter if you don't do what you need to do. Life actually don't have to be short, man. It can be long, but the choice is yours. So again, God chose me because he knew I wasn't going to be quiet. He chose me because, like I always say in my prayers, God used me as an outlet to uplift others by giving my testimony. And that's what I want to do. I want to help somebody. I want to help my fellow brothers, man. Black, white, Asian, Puerto Rican, you name it. I want to help you guys, man. I'm going to be all right. I'm good. I promise you. I pretty much hasn't changed anything as far as my workouts. I'm still doing my motivational speaking, I should say. Also, I'm probably going to change my eating habits, which I kind of thought I was eating pretty healthy, I should say. But my kids were like, well, Dad, you need to eat this, you need to eat that. So, I'm going to listen into what they sent me, do my research. I'm going to be all right, though. And I think that's about it. I think, let me see, I made a couple of notes. Yeah. man, just get checked, man. Like I said, if it wasn't for my girl, I probably would have found out later on because, as men, we always in denial. I always say things like, as a man, you get shot in the head, we'll be like, nah, we'll be all right. Just put a little Band-Aid on it. Um, oh, I don't know if I mentioned this. Another and this is probably like 2 or 3 years ago. I talked to a guy and he was a black man. And I asked him, and we were just in the subject about going to the doctor. And he told me this out of his mouth. He said, why go and pay a doctor to give me bad news? That's what he said. I can't change anybody's mindset. When he said that to me, I was just like, wow. Some men actually thinks like that. Um, you know, you got to drag us into the hospital, man. You got to. And, honestly, me personally, I have my reasons why I really don't like going to the doctor. I've said it before. Normally when I speak, I'll say it to an audience. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about getting our, not only black men, but white men to go to the doctor and get checked. Because the sooner, the better. Real talk. One love.